Hey everybody, welcome back to the Crochet Caron as well as my friends over at Joann.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're going to work on week number 2, and week number 2 is just loaded with texture. If you like popcorn stitches, this is filled with popcorn, and you can see that it's just popping out of the square. So this goes along with the first one, and this one has a lot of texture. So when you're looking at the particular photographs with this one, you're going to notice when you look straight down, you don't see it as much as when you see it on an angle and the way that the light hits it. I have to tell you, this square I absolutely love. Now when you look straight down on it, you don't really get that impression, but when you're sitting back and crocheting it, it just literally pops before your eyes. So like all of the squares that we're going to do, you can make this as big as you need to. Once you understand the repeat pattern of the popcorns, it's every third row that the popcorn appears, and then you know that there's going to be an additional 4 popcorns per side. It's really quite easy. So if you want to make this into a full-size blanket, you can do so. Remember with popcorns or anything like that, even like the crocodile stitch, it's a bit of a yarn pig when you're going to do that. But here you're going to use your 1 ball of Caron 1-pound yarn in order to make this, and you won't need additional balls if you're doing it this particular size. So this is only 18 rounds, but this is still quite fabulous. You see it's quite a large square, and this goes along with your neighbors. So let's talk a little bit more about this pattern. So it's about popcorns, right? Very easy to maintain. This one, because there's popcorn, there's more work involved in order to make the pop. So that's pretty relevant, and it's really not hard to maintain either. So we're gonna start off with a circle, and then it's gonna transition out to a square. And then once we go to the square, it's going to then line up to all of its neighbors all the way through the project. Again, like the last one, there's only 18 rounds in order to do it. So the first time that the popcorns appear when it's in a square will be 4 popcorns, and then the next time it appears there will be an additional 4, and then continuing on additional 4 and additional 4, and if you're counting those out right, very quick and easy to be able to maintain. The only thing you need to watch for this one is that on the very corners of how to identify where to put in your extra stitches right in the corners, and I'm going to be showing you that in the tutorial as well. So without further ado, let's head on down to the studio and let's get you started on the popcorn square that is part of your sampler. So let's take a look at week number 2. We have the popcorn square, and we have popcorns jumping out all over the place. It looks really quite cool, and there's actually a repetitive pattern to do it, so it's not like you have to read a pattern a lot in order to make this happen. I'm going to take you around the very center. We're going to take you for a spin around there, and then once you can see the established pattern, I'm going to leave the rest for you. There's only 18 rounds in order to do this one too, and you're going to need a 5mm size H crochet hook in order to play. So like last time, we have a crochet diagram that's available to you, and it's really quite simple to be able to follow. We're going to start off in the very center, and we're going to rotate in a counterclockwise position as we're reading this, and once you can see you get to the square, you can see that every third round we end up popcorning. Now I did highlight these two, these two, these two, and these two, because what happens is that every time you're progressing, so you see 4 here, you see 4 here, but then there's 2 added to this side and 2 to that side, and then when you go up, there's 2 added to this side, 2 added to that side. It's an easy way to keep count. So you want to keep an eye on the counts of your popcorn as you're circling around to make sure that you're getting it and getting the right number. If you're not getting the right number, something is clearly wrong in your stitching, but really you should not have that problem at all if you're following it as you see here. So let's take an even closer look at the diagram, and let's see what we're looking at. So before I zoom right into the very starting here, everything that is involved in this particular pattern is in stitch key. So we have chaining, slip stitch, half double crochet, treble, we have double treble, we have triple treble as well, and then we also have popcorns that are here. So everything that you see is involved in here, and we also have instructions on the first page on anything that you need to know in order to accomplish these stitches as well. So it's actually really quite easy to follow. I'll be showing you those right off the bat. But as we get started here, we're going to be able to get you started so that you can get the repeat pattern on this and then just continue along without really much worry about that at all. So I'm zoomed in, and what we're going to do is we're going to chain 4, and we're going to rotate in a counterclockwise position as we read it, and we're going to put in a set number of double crochets, and then we're going to continue and chain up, and the next row we're going to put 2. Now the popcorns, what we really want to watch for is the popcorn. We're going to establish it in and then chain 1, and then we double crochet into the next one. So you can see that we popcorn into the next, and then we chain 1, and then double crochet into the next, and you can see that's all kind of following. So we want to really watch for the next round in number 4 is that we're going to double crochet on top of the popcorn, and in this chain 1 space we're going to put 2 double crochets in there in order to keep the established row. I guess the hardest part would be round number 5 to make sure that you get yourself into a square. I'm going to take you a close-up of an example of that, but once you get really beyond number 6 it's just 1 2 3 1 2 3, and you just have to watch out then for the number of popcorns that are in the edges as you're working your way upward. So let's take a look at the pattern now. So here's my sample. We're gonna start off in the middle. You can see it's nice and tight the way that we chained our 4 and then we double crocheted back in and went around, and you can see that these popcorns are really jumping up. In certain yarns this will be very obvious, and depending on what angle that you look at it too, it's really quite stunning to look at those. So really the hardest round would be then to transition this circle then into a square, which is really not hard. You just got to count your stitches, and then once we get to here then basically every third row we're going to add more popcorns, and you can see that you had 4 right in the very beginning, and then you end up with the 2 extra on this side, and you follow it up on this side and you have 2 extra on that side, and then as you work it up it'll have 2 more extra on the one side and 2 more on the other side. So just be conscientious about just quickly counting your popcorns as you get across. Make sure that you get the right number and that it's increasing by 4 popcorns every time that you're doing this per side. So I guess let's grab our crochet hook and let's not talk anymore and let's get started. So let's begin round number 1. We're going to chain up 4 and then we're going to put 11 double crochets that equal a total of 12. So the skipping that you just did, so when you go to double crochet the first time in the very first chain, this one also counts as a double crochet, so you end up with the number of 12. So let's begin that for round number 1. So let's create a slip knot and let's chain a number 4. So we're gonna go 1 2 3 and 4, and this is going to count as 1 double crochet. So we're going to go to the very starting chain, so to count it, it's the 4th one back, and you're going to double crochet a total of 11 times. So let's just say that this is the second double crochet because the first one is already there. So let's say that's number 2 and continue along and double crochet in. This is number 3. This is number 4. And crochet right up over top of that starting strand as well. Get that buried in there. So let's double crochet again. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Let's make sure that there is 12 in there, so just count the number of posts that you have. So you have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12. Once you're satisfied, just slip stitch to the top of the first one that you had, the first chain, and just slip and slip, and there is your 12. Now if you've been burying this yarn in, why not get rid of that now? Get that out of your way, less tails to deal with later, and trim it right out. So let's begin round number 2. Let's begin round number 2. It's pretty straightforward. I don't need to really take you back to the diagram because you've kind of already seen it for this round. So you're just gonna chain up 3, which counts as a double crochet, and in the same one that you did the join, I want you to double crochet one more time. So this round is really straightforward. Every stitch around is going to be 2 double crochets into it. So 1 and 2, and do that all the way around. So you should have 12 sets of 2 going all the way around. Please do that all the way around. I'll see you at the end of this round. So I now have my 12 sets of 2. Just to be aware, this is not a stitch that you're seeing here. This is part, and see how it's kind of leaning towards that one? This is not a stitch. A lot of people do that and then they end up screwing up their number of counts. So make sure that you don't think that's a stitch. It's not. The last one's there. So you should have 12 sets of 2 going all the way around, and let's slip stitch it to the top of the beginning chain 3 and see how you just finished it. It just closed it in. It's not 100% perfect, but that is crochet for you. That's the nature of the beast. We're gonna go back to the diagram now. Let's get you introduced to the popcorns for the very first time. So back to the diagram we go. We're going to chain up 3, which counts as a double crochet, and then we're going to popcorn into the next stitch. Then going to chain 1 and double crochet into the next stitch. Then we immediately popcorn into the next stitch, and then chain 1 and double crochet into the next stitch, and we're gonna do that all the way around. There's gonna be a total of 12 popcorns all going all the way around and 12 double crochets that separate those popcorns out. So let's begin to do that for round number 3. So let's begin round number 3. We're going to chain up 3, which counts as your first double crochet, and immediately into the next stitch that's right here. You can see this is part of this one. We're going to do a popcorn. How we do a popcorn is going to be the same for the entire video. So we're going to wrap the hook and we're going to double crochet 5 times into the next stitch. So just double crochet 5 times as normal, and it almost will appear like a shell. So there's lots in there. This is what's giving the texture. So once you get 5 in there, you're going to just drop the loop. Don't pull up any extra yarn. You don't need to. You're gonna go to the very first double crochet that you did of the group of 5 and insert into the top of the stitch. You're then going to grab that loop like so and then pull it through. That's one popcorn. So in order to move to the next stitch, we have to chain 1 first, and we're going to be double crocheting into the next round. So we immediately just go to the next double crochet that's available to you. If you have to move this out of the way to see it, you can do that, and then just double crochet. Okay, so we don't chain 1 after this. We only chain 1 when we get a popcorn done to move to the double crochet. We don't chain 1 to popcorn into the next. So immediately popcorn into the next. So there's 5 double crochets, so we'll count those out together. So 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 5, and drop the loop, go into the first one of the group of 5, grab the loop. I'm going slower than I normally would, and then just pull it through. Chain 1 and double crochet into the next one that's available to you. I'm gonna show that to you one more time, and then I'm gonna let the rest of the row go for you. So immediately popcorn into the next one. So 5 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Drop the loop, go into the beginning one of the 5, pull through, chain 1 and double crochet into the next. So I want you to do that all the way around for this round, and you're gonna see these starting to pop out right in front of your face for this round. So I'm just coming all the way around. I just finished the popcorn. Don't forget that you need to chain 1 first, and you're going to join it then to the top of the first chain 3 that you had started with. So there should be a total of 12 popcorns that are standing right in front of your face right now. So you'll be able to count those going all the way around, and we're gonna go back to the diagram and show you what to do next. So let's begin the next round, round number 4. So we're going to chain up 3, which counts as a double crochet, and then we're going to double crochet into the next one, which is the top of the popcorn. We're then in the chain 1 space going to apply 2 double crochets in, and then the next double crochet in popcorn is just 1 double crochet by itself, and then the next chain 1 space is 2. So you're really concentrating on these chain 1 spaces to have 2 double crochets, and then there's 2 double crochets that sit by themselves all the way around. So the 2 double crochets going into the chain 1 space allows the growth to happen so that we can convert to a square in the next round. So let's begin this round, round number 4. So let's begin round number 4. We're going to chain up 3, which counts as a double crochet, and in the top of the popcorn, so just lean it forward if you can't see it, just in the top of the popcorn you are going to apply 1 double crochet. So 1 double crochet in the top of the popcorn. In the next chain 2 space, just kind of like peel back the popcorn, and you can see it. It's right here. Okay, so here's the double crochet, here's the popcorn. Just peel it out of the way if you can't see it, and place in 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2. So there is your 2 into the same one. So the next double crochet is a double crochet by itself. The next top of the popcorn, just peel it back if you can't see it, it's right there, is 1 double crochet, and now just peel the popcorn the other way, and you can see the chain 1 space, and you're gonna put 2 double crochets there. So 1 and 2. I'll show it to you one more time. So on the top of the first double crochet it's gonna be 1 double crochet. The top of the popcorn, just peel it back if you can't see it, is 1 double crochet, and then just peel the popcorn the other way. for the chain 1 space, and there will be 2 into that one. Please do that same idea going all the way around. When you get all the way around, I've just got my 2 that are by themselves, so 1 and 2, and the final space, the chain 1 space, will have 2 double crochets in it. 1 and 2, and that keeps it in line with the pattern, and you're going to join to the top of the beginning chain 3 to finalize. So that's what it looks like right now. It should be laying relatively flat for you. If your tension is wrong, then it will be all really buckled, but it should be able to lay flat like it does here on camera. So let's move along. We're going to then transition to a square next. Let's take our time doing that. So let's begin to transition to a square. We're going to make ourselves get bigger right on the very corners to be able to get that distance that we need away from the circle. We're going to chain up 6, which counts as a triple treble, and in the same one we want to do a double treble. Then we're going to start advancing, and we're going to do 1 stitch into each, and we're going to get smaller as we get closer to the middle and then expand back out. So what we're going to do then is that we're going to just get ourselves with 2 double crochets, 4 half doubles, 2 doubles, and then we have a treble crochet again, and then we have a double treble, and then a triple treble, and then chaining 2, and we do the same thing coming down the other side. So it's about keeping just an eye on what stitches you're using, and then once we get this done, the pattern's pretty much easier to follow from this point. So let's begin to do this next. So let's begin. We're going to chain up 6, which is counting as a triple treble. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now we're going to do a double treble. So to do a double treble, you have to wrap the hook 3 times. So wrap and wrap and wrap, and going exactly into the same spot where that chaining 6 is coming out of. I want you to insert in and pull through, and you're going to continue to pull through 2 all the way back up to the top. So pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and 2. Like that. So now we're going to advance to the next stitch right here, and what we're going to make that to be is a regular treble crochet. So we're going to wrap only twice, and you're going to go into that stitch, the next one, and pull through 2 and 2 and 2. So the next 2 in a row will each be a double crochet. So wrap only once and make those a double crochet, 1 in each. The next 4 in a row will each be a half double crochet. So wrap and then pull through all 3 loops. And now we're going to progressively get bigger again so that we can get ourselves to the next corner. So the next 2 will each be a double crochet. Okay, and then the next one is going to be a treble. So wrap the hook twice and going into the next stitch. And the very next one is your corner spot. So to do that one here, we got to do a double treble first. So we got to wrap that hook 3 times this time, going into the next stitch, pull through 2, 2, 2, and 2. Just like you see, and then we're going to do a triple treble. So wrap the hook 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and into the same one. So as we advance around then to the next side, we have to be conscientious of something. The square corners of this particular one in this round is not sharing the same one as these 2. So now the first side is complete, and we're going to start on the next one, but in order to turn the corner we have to chain 2 first, and then we advance to the next stitch to start the other side of the corner. So it's not like the same stitch sharing all of the corners. So the next one is going to advance. So you're going to start off with the biggest one, so triple trebles. So just wrap the hook 4 times. Okay, and then coming in, and then just coming all the way back up to the top. Just pull through 2s until you get back to the top, and then the next one is going to be wrapping the hook 3 times. It's a double treble, and sharing into the same one. And now the next one is a treble, so wrap only twice. And then the next 2 are each a double crochet. Okay, and now the next 4 right in the middle are halves, doubles. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, the next 2 in a row are each a double crochet, so 1 and 2, and then the next one is a double treble, so wrap twice, and then we start the next corner. So the first one then will be a double treble, so wrap the hook 3 times, okay, and we're gonna finish that corner, so wrap the next one 4 times, and that is a triple treble. All the way back to the top. It's a long way. And now we're going to chain 2 and then officially turn the corner and advance to the next one. So don't forget, we're at the triple treble first, wrapping the hook 4 times, going into the next one, and then the next one is going to be a double treble, so wrap only 3 times, okay, and then we start going down again. So what I want you to do, you can fast or reverse this video back to the start of this row that we just did, or this side, and then it's exactly the same all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end of this round as we go to do that. Don't forget to chain your 2s in the middle. This is actually take number 2 because I kind of forgot that the first time, so just don't forget to do that, and I'll see you at the end of this round. So as you're coming up all the way around, don't forget the very last stitch is the other side of this first corner, and remember we have to double treble, so wrap in the hook 3 times first, and then triple treble, so 4 times. And then what we need to do is that we need to chain 2 at the end of this, 1, 2, and join it to the top of the first one that we had way over here. So that's what it should look like right now, and once you kind of just give it a little bit of a stretch, it should lay down flat on you, and then we're going to then move on and do round number 6. So back to the diagram we go. We're going to go round number 6. So you're gonna see that this the slip stitching that we do is going to go up here, so it's not gonna go following the corners, it's gonna go right up. So we're going to then just chain up 3, which counts as a double crochet, and we're gonna double crochet in the next, and then we're gonna popcorn. Please note that you're not chaining 1 after a popcorn like you did down here. It's just a straight popcorn, and then you're just double crocheting the next 2 and then popcorn. The nice thing about this is every time you see this in the rows above, it'll be popcorn, and then the next 2 are double crochets and then popcorn. So it's really quite easy to maintain in order to do so. So let's begin to do round number 6. Let's begin round number 6. We're going to chain up 3, which counts as a double crochet, and then we're gonna double crochet right into the next one. So you're gonna see this is really gonna form the square if it hasn't already. So the next one is going to be a popcorn, so it's exactly what you already have been taught. So it's gonna be 5 double crochets into the same one. So this is 2, 3, 've lost count here. That's now 4, and this is my 5th. Once I get my 5th, just drop the loop, go into the first one of the group of 5, pull it through, and then you don't chain 1 after it, just peel it back if you can't see it, but it's the next double crochet that's right beside it, and that's where you're gonna double crochet into next, just like that. So then you double crochet into the next one after that, and then popcorn into the next one after that. So the popcorn is gonna be 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, drop it, go into the beginning one of the group of the 5, pull it through, and then double crochet again into the next 2, and the next one's a popcorn again. So there's a total of 4 popcorns going across each side on this round. So next time we come back to this is that it's going to be 8. So that each side grows by 4 popcorns in the rows above when we go to do that. So I got my 5 in there, drop it, pick it up, double crochet in the next 2. So I can see right now how many popcorns do I have. I can see that I have 3, so I'm gonna popcorn again. I'm just following the diagram as well. release it, pull it through, and then here is the final two. So there's two left before I hit a corner. Now how do I know that's really right? But when we chained up 3 and then we double crocheted into the next one, that left 2 right up from the very edge on the other side. So I know that I'm right on this. So to turn a corner is always gonna be the same regardless on what round you're on. Now from going forward, there will always be 2 double crochets right into the chain 2 space, and then you'll make a chain 2 and 2 double crochets right into the same space, like so. So let's just get you started on the next side. So the first 2, and you can see this in the diagram, they're each going to be 1 double crochet each. So 1 and 2, and then you're going to popcorn into the next, and then that'll get you started. So you do popcorn and then 2 double crochets in a row, and then a popcorn again, and etc. And you do that all the way around. Just make sure that you handle the corners exactly what I just said with 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets right into the chain 2 space. So once you get your 5 there, just drop it, pick it up, and make it pop, and then 2 double crochets after that. Okay, so just follow that same idea going all the way around. These popcorns are really no big deal, but because you're putting 5 double crochets into 1 stitch, it takes a little bit longer to get around, but the effect after it's done is amazing. So please continue that same patterning going all the way around. So as we come to the final corner, remember the final corner is not been done at all, so we're gonna put in our 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet into the same one. So then we're going to then slip stitch ourselves to the top of the first chain 3. So I want you to pay attention to 2 things. Right now you see that there's 2 double crochets that are in between the idea of this popcorn before it starts. On the other side there was 2 double crochets after the popcorn, and then the corner is in. If you can understand that, it makes this a lot easier to be able to follow. So let's go back to the diagram real quick. So back to the diagram we go. So the next 2 rounds are straight double crochets all the way around. Again in the corners it's 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochets into there. So you're gonna do 2 rounds. So you basically get 2 holiday rounds, and then you're back to the popcorn again. Just like we started before, when we go to chain up, we're going to be starting right here, and then we just chain up 3, double crochet into the next, and then popcorn, and then we continue all the way around, and then we're gonna continue in that same fashion. So just kind of follow it around. As you're getting all the way back around, this time because you're further away from the starting slip stitch, you're going to turn the corner, and just remember that there's always going to be these 2 double crochets that are sitting by themselves before you have the double crochet happen. So you have the corner, these 2 double crochets, corner, there's 2 double crochets, you'll see it again, and that helps you be able to maintain that. And then you're going to just ending up with a popcorn right before the last chain 3, and that's gonna happen every time that you end up with that later on down the road. So I'm going to leave the rest of this for you. This is part of your challenge. So you're just gonna chain up 3, and then you can double crochet all the way around in order to make this work, and then you'll be introduced to the popcorn after the 3 rounds. So let me just take you back to the sample and just quickly review. So I'm here back at the sample. I just left you here. So you're gonna have 2 rounds of double crochet, and then the popcorns will go. This is the slip stitching line going all the way up that you see all the way to the end. So just keep an eye on the number of popcorns that you have. So this time it's 4. There will be additional 2 right up, and then when you move back up you'll just follow it up, and you'll see that there is an additional 2 after this set. Okay, so just kind of watch for that. Keep an eye on the count, especially on this last round. It tends to work out just fine on the other 3. It's because you're slip stitching midway up. Sometimes it can be easy just to make sure that you get all of your popcorns in. If you don't get all your popcorns in, something is missing, and therefore it won't align. The total size that you see here is about 23 inches. All of my squares are about 23 inches. Of course, if your tension is different, if you're looser or tighter, you'll have a different size, but if you use the same yarn and the same size hook, it really doesn't matter too much. If your project is buckling, then it's something to do with the yarn and the tension. So maybe the yarn you chose and the hook is not working for you. So if it's all crumpling up on you, the chances are that your hook is too small, or if the yarn is not in alignment with that. So that's just a kind of a neat idea. So get this done. You only need to do 1 of these, and I think this is the most labor intensive one of all 3. Wait till you see next week. Next week is gonna blow your socks off. I love next week. And then the final week, number 4, is actually the easiest nicest one of all four, which is pretty much a holiday one. So let's continue along with our stitch along, and we'll see you again real soon. So that's it for now. Get this done and then meet me back here next week, and then we're going to carry on to week number 3. This one here is the most labor intensive of all of the squares, so it gets easier time wise from this particular point in your stitch along. So we'll see you next week, and I hope you have a good one. And it's Mikey on behalf of the Crochet Crowd, as well as my friends over at Joann.com. We'll see you again real soon. Bye.